Hi everyone, this is Arun Reddy here. Welcome to my YouTube channel Arun Reddy Tech for You. Coming to our today's topic, OOPS concept. So we are going to learn OOPS concepts in C++. And before going to that, if you are new to my video and if you want to learn C++, you can go through my channel playlist, and in channel playlist you will find a playlist called C++, where videos are available in English, and there is another playlist called C++ in Telugu, where videos are available in Telugu. So there are other playlists which contains other subjects like DBMS, C, Python, Excel, VBA, MS Word, so on. Okay, so you can go to the playlist, and in playlist, suppose if you find DBMS, then it is English videos, and if you find at the end DBMS in Telugu, then the videos are in Telugu. So all the videos are available in Telugu and English, right? So let us move to our topic. So our topic is OOPS concepts, right? So let us see what are the OOPS concepts. Okay, so C++ language that supports various programming styles. Of course, it supports various programming styles, including object-oriented programming through the use of object and class. So how we are going to achieve the OOPS concept means by using object and classes. Okay, so let us see what are these OOPS concepts. Okay, right. So before that, object-oriented, what is object-oriented programming? Let us see that, then we will move to the concepts. Okay, object-oriented program aim to implement real-world entities such as book, house, tree, etc. So what we are saying is object-oriented. Here everything we treat as object. Okay, and to implement real world entities, okay, so to implement real world entities we use OOPS concept. Generally in programming, in C language, what happens, there will be structure oriented, right? So but when it comes to the C++, it also has a object oriented OOPS concept. So what do you mean by OOPS concept? Means we treat everything as a object, okay, in a real world entity. For example, if you want to do a program on a house, you can do with the C++. If you want to do a program on a tree, you can do it with the use of C++. So that's what OOPS concept will do. It will create, it will take every real world entity as an object and does the work, right? So examples like a book, house, tree, etc. Okay, so you can see here a book, a house, a tree. Also we can do a program. That's a specialty of a object oriented programming. Okay, now what are the concepts of OOPS? We have a class, object, polymorphism, encapsulation, inheritance, data abstraction, and many more. Okay, but these are the main concepts. Okay, so main 6 concepts. So there are like a message sorry, there are other concepts like a message passing. Okay, so there are, but the main concepts in the OOPS concepts are class, object, polymorphism, encapsulation, inheritance, and data abstraction. Okay, right, let us see one by one. So let us start with the class. Okay, so yes, right, now what is class? A class is a collection of object. A class is a collection of object. A class contains the blueprint or prototype from which objects are being created. So what we are saying, class is just like a blueprint. Class is like just like a blueprint, and object is a actually program. For example, if we have a house, okay, so blueprint is a class, and a house, exact how if we done already constructed a house, then it is an object. The blueprint of a house is called as class. Okay, for example, if you know the model paper for your exam, then it is called as class, and if you get the exam paper, then it is called as object, right? I hope you have understood the difference between a class and object. For example, if I say animals, or if I say dog, okay, so if I say dog, it will become a class. If I say Tommy, it will become an object, right? So just to explain a structure we use class. So actual thing is called object, right? To explain a structure we use class, and the actual thing is called as object, which is real world entity, right? So what object, what class contains? It is a logical entity that contains attributes and methods. Attributes and methods. Now you know attributes and methods, right? If you don't know also, it's okay, we will go in depth. Okay, right. Object, what is an object? Object is an entity that has state, behavior, and associated with. Okay, so what it is in, it is an entity that has state and behavior associated with it. It may be a real world object like mouse, keyboard, chair, table, pen, etc. Right? Anything. For example, what do you mean by, sir, state? What do you mean by object? What do you mean by this behavior? Right? Let us go one by one. We'll understand. Okay. First we'll go with the definition. Then we'll go with the example. Right? So object contains state. It is represented by attributes. Okay, of an object. It also reflects the properties of an object. Now what we are saying, a state contains attributes. Okay, for example, if I say a human being, okay, so human beings contains eyes, nose, hands, legs, all these are called as attributes, right? Okay, so behavior, he can run, he can dance, right? All this will come under the behavior. It represents by the method of object. It also reflects response of an object to the other object, behavior, right? Identity, it gives unique name to an object and enables the object to the interact with the other object. So what we are saying, we are giving a identity. Okay, right? So let us see with the example so you can understand. For example, to understand state, behavior and identity, let us take an example. For example, you have a dog. Okay, dog. Okay, so dog, what a dog identity is, identity can be considered as the name of the dog. For example, dog has a name called Tommy. Now Tommy is the identity, or a Raju is an identity, right? State or attributes means, for example, which breed it is, which age it, what is the age, what is the color of the dog. Okay, all these will come under the attributes, right? And behavior, what do you mean by behavior? Means considering the whether the dog is eating, sleeping, actions. Okay, the what it is performing, okay, is called as behavior. So all these contains in the object, because object is a real world entity, right? Okay, right. Now let us see the difference between a class and object. Class is a blueprint and object is a real world entity. It is a logical entity and it is a physical entity. That means object exists in real. Okay, see, you can see here there's a blueprint is there, right? For example, fruit, if I say fruit, okay, it's a class. Okay, if I say banana, apple, mango, they are called object because they exist physically, right? Okay. So you can see blueprint is a class and a building, okay, a constructed building is called as object. Okay, so object is real world entity which physically exists, and it is, you can say it as examples. Okay, right. Inheritance, now we have understood class and object, right? Now let us go to the inheritance. Now what is inheritance? Inheritance is a capability of one class to derive or inherit the properties from another class. So what we are saying, inheritance means, suppose giving something to for a mother is giving something to child is called as inheritance, right? So it may be a property, it may be some like sometimes we will also get the diseases from your parents, properties from your behavior from your parents, right? So something you got from the parent, a parent to child is called as inheritance. Okay, so see, the class that derives property is called derived class or child class, and the class which from which the properties are given or now being derived is called as base class or parent class. So what you are saying, for example, a father is there and a child is there. Okay, a father is giving his assets, okay, building to the child, right? Now father is called parent class and child is called inheritance, child is called derived class or child class. Okay, father is called parent class or base class, right? So I hope you have understood, right? Okay, now you can see here class A, class B. Now class B is getting from something from the A. Okay, so B derived from the A. Now which one is the derived class? B, or a you can also call child class. Okay, and which one is the base class? A, because from the A you see A is not depending on B, or A is not getting anything from the B. So A is base, main base, or you can also keep parent class. Okay, so right now is there only one inheritance or single inheritance? No, there are different types of inheritance. Okay, so single inheritance, we have seen an example of single inheritance. For example, a father is giving something to the child is a single inheritance. Now class B is getting from A, so only class B is getting from A, right? So this is called single inheritance. For example, multiple inheritance, for example, father and grandfather is there, right? Okay, a grandchild is getting something from the parent and parent is getting from the grandparent. Same, let us assume we have taken a house Okay, so a grandchild is getting from his father, and if a father got from the grandfather, right? So now this is called multi-level inheritance, more than one level. Okay, so this is only one level, right? Next, hierarchical means here one parent and many child. Okay, so for example, two children are getting same building. Yeah, so there is a two floor building. Okay, so one floor is taken by B and another floor is taken by C. Now both of them getting from the class A, right? So this is called hierarchy, right? Okay, now multi inheritance. For example, a father has some property and mother has some property. Now both properties belong to a son now, right? So this is called multi, where single child is there and multiple parents are there, right? Multiple inheritance. Okay, hybrid inheritance. What do you mean by hybrid inheritance? Means it's a combination of both hierarchical and multi-level. See here, one parent is there, multiple childs there. Here multiple childs are there and multiple parents are there and single child. So combination of these both, you can see here class A, B, C is there. Here from B, C again we are getting D, right? So combination of these both you can say as hybrid inheritance. Okay, so these are the type of inheritance. Once again, only one level and single, only one person getting the from the one parent, that is called single inheritance. If multiple people are getting, then it will hierarchical, and multiple parents are there and single child is getting, then multiple inheritance. So more than one generation if they are getting, they are called multi-level inheritance. And hybrid, any combination of both inheritance is called as hybrid inheritance, right? Okay, now let us move to the polymorphism. Now what is this polymorphism? Polymorphism contains two words, poly and morphism. Okay, poly means many, morphism means shape. Okay, so polymorphism, here we understood that one task can performed in a different ways. Same task can be performed in a different ways. For example, you have a class animal, okay, and all animals speaks, but they speak different way. Here the speak behavior in polymorphism in the sense of sense and depends on animal. So what you are saying, when I say animal, so it can be anything, right? Now class is an animal, you know, right? When I say speak means what cat will do, it will say meow. What dog will do, it will say bow bow. If I say go for a parrot, if I go with the peacock, it will speak different ways, right? So speak word is single, but what the outputs are different, right? So that's what they are saying. Polymorphism means poly means many forms, poly means many, morph means forms or many shapes. Okay, so see, everybody is speaking but in a different way, right? Okay, encapsulation. Now what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is one of the fundamental concept in object oriented programming. So what it will do, it describe the idea of wrapping data and the methods that work on the data with in one unit. So what you are saying here is, so what encapsulation will do, it will wrap the data itself. Okay, wrap the data, and wrap the data means, for example, you have a capsules. Okay, so capsule contain different formula to kept together and they will wrapped, right? So for example, if you you have a let us assume we have a two or three gifts. So you want to give present 2 or 3 gifts at a time. So what you do, you will just wrap all the things in a presentation cover and then you will. So that's what encapsulation will do. Encapsulation, what it is doing, it is wrapping into single unit. Okay, it is wrapping into single unit. For example, you have seen, for example, you purchased a bicycle on the online. What you will do, it will remove all the parts and I kept in a single parcel and you will send you. So after that, what you will do, it will come as a single unit. Now you will remove and you will attach all the parts, right? So what encapsulation we doing, it is packing and making in single unit. Okay, now why we do this concept means, it describes the idea of wrapping data and methods. See, data and methods work one data within one unit, okay, as a single unit. Okay, so we want to make data and methods into single unit, then we use encapsulation. And how we can achieve? Of course, again, without class, encapsulation cannot be achieved. So this put restriction on accessing variables and method directly and can prevent the accidental modification of data. Okay, now what you see, I'll take another example. For example, you want to give a gift to the toppers of your school. So what you do, you want to give a present, you want to give a gold medal, and you want to give a certificate. So what happens when you giving 5 to 10 students, what happens, all certificates, all gold medals will get mixed. So instead of that, what you do, you pack them and you label them, right? So if you label, what happens, one will not be one gift. Okay, so the gold medal or certificate in one will not go into the others. So no misplacement or no mismanagement, right? No, you doesn't need to check or cross check once again, right? So what it will do, it will restrict the one certificate to go into the another, one medal go into another, because we have packed, right? So what you are saying, this put restrictions on the accessing various variables and method directly and can prevent accidental modifications. So accessing, it will stop other things to access into the, okay. For example, you can see here a capsule which contain method and variables, and of course that capsule name is called class. Without class you cannot achieve. For example, you can see class contains what variable and methods. Okay, see, you can see here student is a class, and student contain first name, method, middle name, last name, full name, and course, and he has a save, subscribe, and get subscribe as a options, methods, right? Okay. Data abstraction. Now what is data abstraction? It hide unnecessary codes details from the user. Allow also when we don't want to give our sensitive part of our code implementation, and this is where data abstraction comes. For example, you want to sell a car, okay, and the person who buys the car, if he knows the driving, it's enough. He doesn't need to know the mechanical thing. He doesn't need to know how engine works, how it is turned, how when I turn a steering, how it is turning the wheels. He doesn't need to know all these things. If he know the driving, it's enough to buy a car, right? So why we hide all the other things? Because to make it simple, otherwise it will become complicated for the driver, okay, if you know all the details, right? For example, a person want to withdraw money. If you know how to withdraw money, that's enough. He doesn't need to know where cash is kept, how it will work, how it is counting the money, how it is giving exact money, how it is showing the balance. All these things you should not know. It doesn't require to know, right? Okay, it's a threat to the security if he knows, right? Okay. So friends, I hope you have understood the video, and if you like the video, do like my video and subscribe my channel, and don't forget to share to your friends. Thank you.